You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
Yep, we got a caller on the line, and I think it was Mark. Mark, how you doing, brother?
Doing good. Appreciate listening to your show, but the thing I think is very dangerous, to say that just Republicans don't care for the working class is such a blanket just statement, because I look at it like the problem that our country is having a lot is that everything has turned into kind of, use a phrase around here, Alabama Auburn, where, you have an Alabama fan who looks at a guy like Cam Newton and thinks he's not a good player just because he played at Auburn, or an Auburn fan and doesn't like Nick Saban, so Nick Saban's not a good coach. Mm-hmm. I think it's a dangerous statement to come out and say, like Kareem earlier, and I hear him all the time on all the different shows, and, to go blatantly just one-sided like that on blanket statement, to me is very dangerous, because I don't believe the fact that Republicans are against the working class, but I know a lot of Democrat billionaire CEOs that don't care about their employees just as much as you may say that there's a Republican head of a company or politician.
I think you're absolutely right. I think you probably hit the nail on the head, and me and Jacob, believe it or not, have a lot of discussion about that outside of the radio show. I'm not a big fan of Democrats or Republicans, but I think, and I'm not trying to speak for Jacob, but I'll speak from my perspective of I lean towards what he leans towards, agreeing with what he said, for the simple fact that we were talking about right before the show. If you look at the Republicans, they refuse to even debate. They refuse to even hold a debate on their own policies because they think that they're going to win. It's just an automatic. Right. And I think that's dangerous for democracy, because it doesn't do justice to not only the Republican Party, but it doesn't do justice to the citizens to actually listen to for example, Tommy Tuberville. Mm-hmm. What is your thoughts on policy besides I'm going to get in there and support Trump, who may or may not get elected in another month? So
right. Well, I think that's the political environment as a whole. Like right now, I'm like you. I'm kind of sick of both parties. I can't believe that the two people that we're putting forward on either side is the best that our country has.
It's terrible.
And I sit back and I think that they set up elections now based on what the other person has done wrong or what they don't think they can do versus what are they going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't disagree with you that Democrats are, by and large, also not or they're not very good at supporting working people. But I think that the allegiances of the Republican Party are much more clear. You look at the priority of the Trump administration was getting those tax cuts for the wealthy, 80% of which went to multi-billionaires. This is not a party that prioritizes working people. Now, we can also say this about the Democrats. Look at their messaging bill that passed the House for the second round of coronavirus relief. They voted to subsidize COBRA, which is the least efficient and most expensive way to have health care in this country, instead of trying to expand Medicaid or expand Medicare further. Okay, they are beholden to their corporate billionaire donors as well, but I believe that recent history has shown that Democrats are more easily pushed to support working people because still in their party coalition are our unions, the labor movement, people that have these priorities. The Democratic Party is a big tent party that has multiple different polls. You've got this corporatist poll, and you also have a poll of organizations and working people. Whereas the Republican Party is almost completely financially supported by oligarchs, and that. And so that's where I come down on. But the reason that we have the show and the reason that we emphasize unions and work and organizing at your workplace much more than we do partisan politics is because we believe that's more important. We believe that it is easier, more efficient, and you can get more gains by organizing in your workplace than you can by voting for a Democrat or a Republican at the ballot box.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you that wholeheartedly. I think that I think they're both, the Democrats and the Republicans, and just the political environment in general, there's so many people that they're protecting themselves versus protecting us. So I agree with you on that.
And real quickly, though, I will say that I don't think that Doug Jones is primarily running a negative campaign. I disagree with him on a lot of things, on the Patriot Act, on the banking deregulation, but he's running a campaign on what he has done and what he wants to do.
Yeah, and
that's not what Tupperville is running.
No, if you listen to our show regularly, I think it goes without saying that we've probably been more critical of Senator Doug Jones, and I know for certain that I've been extremely critical of Senator Doug Jones more than a lot of the Republicans in office, just for the simple fact that I expect more out of him. Mm-hmm. And I've said it numerous times, Doug Jones is probably the strongest Republican candidate that we've got in the state of Alabama, and that's the truth. I mean, most of his policies are
he was he got an award from the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah.
But I do believe, and I said it when Tuberville and Sessions was running earlier in the primary. I supported Sessions 100% because I do believe that Sessions was a better candidate for the workers in Alabama. Right. And now that the Republicans have elected Tuberville, I believe Jones is going to be the stronger candidate than Tuberville.
I mean, and at least Jones, he's got a theory of government, right? He has things that he believes, and you can look at his record, you can look at his statements, and you can assess that. You don't have that with Tupperville. He's just an empty, He's just an empty politician. He doesn't know anything, and he's just repeating buzzwords and culture war nonsense.
Hey, Mark, we got about 10 more seconds. Appreciate the call, man. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it. I love talking to people. That's why, that's why we wanted to get on this station instead of doing a podcast, is because we want to meet workers in Alabama where they are, and where they are is conservative talk radio.
Yeah, and I think it does a good job because he's a reasonable caller. He made a reasonable point, and nobody got aggravated and shouted him down and talked over him.
Yeah,
we
appreciate the call, brother.
We got to start listening to people.
Definitely. Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your time. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week and get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout the week. And we also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps. So you can see if we're on your listening platform of choice. You can go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. And if you appreciate our work and want to help us stay on the air, then consider throwing us a couple dollars a month on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.